The vastness of space was usually a quiet place, filled with silent stars and distant suns. But today, the Galactic Council chambers were anything but quiet. Alien delegates from countless species sat tensely, their many eyes and sensors focused on the holographic display glowing in the center. The screen showed a massive warship, unlike any they had ever seen, sleek, brutal, and undeniably human. The rumor had been whispered in the outer sectors for weeks, but no one had dared to believe it. The idea of a human dreadnought, a warship so powerful and heavily armed it could challenge entire fleets, was almost laughable. Humans were primitive compared to many other species in the Council, known for their stubbornness, but not their technology. Yet here it was, real and undeniable. "I don't believe it," hissed Zerthak, the reptilian ambassador from the Thraxian Empire, his forked tongue flicking nervously. No species with such limited history could build something like that. It must be a trick, some kind of ancient relic or a forgotten weapon of the ancients. But Lissa, the tall, blue-skinned envoy from the Aquarian Federation, shook her head. The scans show new technology, not ancient. The signatures match nothing in the archives. It's something new, something human. Across the chamber, murmurs filled the air. The Galactic Council prided itself on maintaining peace through balance. The great war fleets of multiple species kept one another in check, preventing any single power from rising too far. Humans were seen as a minor nuisance, no threat at all. Now, that belief was crumbling. The Council's supreme commander, a towering figure made of shimmering light known as Varel, took a deep breath. His voice echoed through the chamber with a calm authority that belied the tension. "We must understand what this means. If humans have indeed built a dreadnought, their potential for war has grown far beyond what we thought." He paused, looking at the faces of the other delegates. "We have underestimated them. This mistake could cost us dearly." Far away, on the edge of the Orion cluster, the dreadnought itself cruised silently through the void. It was a massive ship, easily twice the size of the largest warships in the Council fleet, but it moved with surprising grace. The hull gleamed under the light of a nearby star, covered in armor plating that no known weapon had yet pierced. Inside the command bridge, Captain Maya Jensen sat with a quiet confidence. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, eyes sharp as they scanned the controls. The crew around her was mostly human, a mix of veterans and young recruits, all sharing a grim determination. "We're approaching the designated rendezvous point," the navigator said. "Sensors show no immediate threats." Maya nodded. "Good. The Council's reaction tells us everything we need to know. They never expected this kind of firepower from Earth." Her voice was calm, but inside she felt the weight of what they carried. This dreadnought wasn't just a warship, it was a message. For decades, humanity had been dismissed, laughed at by the galactic elite. Now the time for jokes was over. "Captain," her second-in-command, Lieutenant Rami, said quietly, "what's our objective once we make contact? Are we here to negotiate or to warn?" Maya leaned forward, her eyes burning with resolve. "Neither. We're here to remind them that humans won't be pushed around anymore. We will defend what's ours, with or without their approval." Back at the Galactic Council, debates grew louder. Some species called for immediate sanctions, even preemptive strikes. Others warned caution, fearing that provoking humans might spark the very war they wanted to avoid. Lissa stood, her voice steady but urgent. "We can't ignore this. The humans have crossed a threshold. Either we find a way to work with them, or we prepare for the worst." Zerthak hissed in frustration. "The arrogance of these humans is dangerous. They do not understand our history or the power dynamics at play. They will learn, soon. The Council's chambers darkened as emergency protocols activated. Defense fleets were scrambled, and war councils convened. The galaxy had changed overnight, and every species felt the ripple. In the quiet depths of space, the human Dreadnought moved steadily forward, a silent storm on the horizon. The Galactic Council panicked, but Captain Maya Jensen knew one thing for sure. The galaxy was about to witness a new era, and humanity would lead it, whether they liked it or not. The news of the human Dreadnought spread like wildfire through the galactic communication networks. Across countless star systems, species that had once ignored or mocked humanity suddenly found themselves scrambling to understand what this new threat meant. The idea that humans had quietly built a warship capable of challenging entire fleets shook the galaxy to its core. Inside the Galactic Council's war room, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Holographic maps of star clusters and fleet movements flickered as commanders debated strategy. Varel, the shimmering Supreme Commander, stood at the center, his form radiating calm despite the chaos. "We must send envoys immediately," he ordered. "We cannot allow the humans to control the narrative. Diplomacy is our first line of defense." Zyathak, still bristling with anger, growled, "Diplomacy! They built a Dreadnought without informing us. This is an act of war by any other name." Lissa raised a hand, trying to bring reason. "We have no proof of hostile intent yet. If we strike first, we risk igniting a conflict none of us can win." The council members debated late into the galactic night. Many feared that the humans, with their unpredictable nature and newfound power, could disrupt the delicate balance that had kept peace for centuries. Others wondered if this was simply a bluff, if the humans' Dreadnought was a single ship without support, vulnerable to coordinated attack. Meanwhile, far from the political turmoil, Captain Maya Jensen and her crew prepared for their next move. The Dreadnought's internal hum vibrated beneath their feet as the massive engines powered up. The ship was a fortress, packed with the latest human technology, energy shields that flickered with blue light, weapon systems designed for precision strikes, and artificial intelligence that adapted in real time. Maya walked the corridors, greeting her crew with quiet nods. Despite their youth, the soldiers were determined and well-trained. They had been through rigorous simulations and combat drills, all focused on one mission: to ensure humanity's survival and respect among the stars. "We've been underestimated for too long," Maya told her second-in-command one evening. "We survived countless threats on Earth, and now the galaxy will see what it means to face humans who refuse to back down." Lieutenant Rami smiled, a rare moment of warmth. "You think this will finally change things?" Maya shrugged. "It has to. Either we force them to recognize us, or we become targets in a war we didn't start." Back in the council chambers, spies and informants reported strange human movements near border systems. Some ships spotted small human scouting vessels, sleek and fast, darting through sectors previously untouched by Earth forces. It was a clear message. Humanity was no longer content with isolation. The council scrambled to respond. Fleets were placed on high alert, patrols increased, and alliances reconsidered. Even the most peaceful species began preparing defenses, fearful of the unknown capabilities humans now wielded. Yet among the chaos, a few voices urged caution and curiosity. An ancient alien scholar named Talor, with translucent skin and eyes like molten gold, spoke quietly to Lissa. Humans have always been unpredictable, yes, but their rise could also be an opportunity for new alliances, new strength. Lissa nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps, but the council must tread carefully. Fear can lead to destruction faster than any warship. As tension grew, Maya's Dreadnought moved closer to the heart of galactic space. The ship was more than a weapon. It was a symbol that humanity refused to be sidelined or ignored. With each light year crossed, the legend of the human Dreadnought spread, and the Galactic Council's panic deepened. One question haunted every mind in the galaxy. What would the humans do when they finally made contact? The Dreadnought's approach to the galactic core did not go unnoticed. Surveillance outposts and scouting fleets tried to keep pace, but the human ship was faster, smarter, and more elusive than anyone expected. It wasn't just brute force. There was strategy behind every move, and the Council struggled to keep up. Inside the Dreadnought, Captain Maya Jensen studied the latest reports. The galaxy was on edge, and every message they intercepted showed fear, confusion, and sometimes outright hostility. The humans had shattered the old image of themselves as insignificant. "Captain," Rami reported from the tactical station, "Council fleets are mobilizing in response. Multiple battle groups are converging on our last known position." Maya's jaw tightened. "Let them come. We won't back down." Her voice carried the weight of humanity's stubborn spirit. Unlike many of the alien species who valued centuries of tradition and protocol, humans had a fierce will to survive and a knack for improvising in impossible situations. The Dreadnought's AI, named Argus, hummed softly, analyzing thousands of possible outcomes. "Captain, probability of engagement with hostile forces within 48 standard hours is over 80%. Maya looked at the screen showing the vast map of star systems. "Prepare for battle readiness. I want full shields and weapon systems on standby. We make the first move if attacked." Below decks, the crew worked in seamless coordination. Engineers fine-tuned the massive plasma cannons, while communications officers kept listening for any chance to intercept Council transmissions. Every hand knew their role. Every soldier understood the stakes. Meanwhile, on the Council's side, panic had turned into desperate planning. Varel convened an emergency summit with top generals and strategists. "We face a new threat," Varel said gravely. "This is no longer a minor nuisance. The humans have crossed a threshold, and their Dreadnought is a force unlike any other." General Karath, a hulking warrior from the Crass species, slammed his fist on the table. "Then we must strike now. Destroy the Dreadnought before it can rally more human forces." Lissa shook her head, her voice calm but firm. "Rushing into war could trigger the collapse of the Council itself. We must explore other options." "But they've shown no willingness to negotiate," Karath growled. "Their silence is defiance." Varel raised a hand to silence the room. "We send envoys. We offer dialogue. But prepare our fleets. War may be inevitable." Back on the Dreadnought, Maya received a transmission. It was unexpected, a holographic message from the Council, projected right onto the bridge. "This is Supreme Commander Varel of the Galactic Council," the shimmering figure announced. "Humans, your actions have caused alarm. We demand you explain your intentions. Stand down and come for negotiations, or face destruction." Maya stared at the message, her heart steady. She turned to her crew. "They want to talk. Fine, but we won't come without conditions." Her voice echoed with years of frustration. "We've been ignored, ridiculed, and pushed to the edge. This Dreadnought is not just a weapon. It's our declaration. We're here to stay, and we expect respect." She keyed the communicator and sent a response. "We will meet, but we come as equals, not as subjects to your old ways. Prepare for a new chapter." The Council's delegates exchanged uneasy looks. The humans had thrown down the gauntlet, but also extended a fragile hand. It was a moment full of risk. One wrong move could spark the war everyone feared. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, waiting to see which path the galaxy would choose. Would it be peace through understanding, or destruction through pride and fear. Maya stood on the bridge, looking out into the void. For the first time in centuries, humans were no longer the forgotten species. The Dreadnought was a beacon, a symbol of defiance, strength, and hope. And whatever came next, humanity was ready. The human Dreadnought moved slowly toward the designated meeting point, a neutral station on the edge of the galactic core. The atmosphere aboard the ship was tense, but purposeful. This was more than a routine encounter. It was a test of wills, a chance to prove humanity's place among the stars. Captain Maya Jensen paced the bridge, her thoughts racing. She had grown up hearing stories of humans dismissed as weak or backward, their technology mocked as crude compared to ancient alien civilizations. Now, she carried the weight of proving them wrong. "Captain, incoming communication from the Council delegation," the communications officer announced. A holographic image flickered to life. A group of alien diplomats, led by Supreme Commander Varel himself. His radiant form filled the room with a calm authority that contrasted sharply with the anxious whispers among his delegates. "Captain Jensen," Varel began, "the Galactic Council acknowledges your courage in reaching out. But understand this. Many here still doubt humanity's intentions. You must convince us that your Dreadnought is not a weapon of conquest, but a symbol of peace." Maya met his gaze steadily. "Peace is built on respect, Commander. For too long, humans were ignored or underestimated. This Dreadnought is our way of saying we will no longer be sidelined. We seek cooperation, but we will defend ourselves if forced." An uneasy silence filled the chamber. Then a stern voice spoke. Zerthak, the reptilian ambassador who had opposed the humans from the start. "How can we trust a species that builds weapons capable of destroying entire fleets, yet demands peace? Your history is short, but filled with conflict." Maya responded calmly. "Every species has a history of conflict, but we have survived. We have learned. This Dreadnought is not a threat unless provoked. We want a future where humans and aliens can thrive together." Lisa, the Aquarian envoy, nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps this is the moment for change. If humans bring new ideas and strength, the Council could become stronger." Varel looked around the room, weighing the voices. "Very well, Captain. The Council will grant humanity a seat at the table, but with conditions. You must share your technology, prove your intentions, and adhere to Council laws." Maya hesitated. Sharing technology was risky. Human secrets had been guarded fiercely. But she also knew this was a chance to secure humanity's future. "We accept your terms," she said finally. "But understand this. Humanity will not be bound by outdated rules designed to keep us down. We will contribute, but we expect fairness." The negotiations were delicate. Both sides knew this meeting was more than diplomacy. It was a battle of wills disguised as words. The Galactic Council faced its own fears, the unpredictability of humans, the possibility that their power could upset the balance. As talks continued, rumors swirled among the Council. Some feared that humanity's rapid rise was a sign of hidden agendas, perhaps plans for domination. Others hoped that this new alliance would bring stability and fresh strength against threats lurking beyond known space. Meanwhile, aboard the Dreadnought, the crew prepared for whatever came next. The ship had been designed for war, but now it carried the hopes of peace. The irony was not lost on Maya. "Do you think they'll really accept us?" a young engineer asked quietly. Maya smiled faintly. "They don't have a choice. The galaxy is changing, and humans are part of that change. We'll fight if we have to, but I hope it doesn't come to that." Outside the ship, stars glittered like distant promises. The Dreadnought, once a symbol of fear, now hovered at the edge of a fragile new beginning. The Galactic Council panicked once, but now they had to decide: embrace humanity or face the consequences of their refusal. Maya looked forward, ready to face whatever the galaxy threw at them. The human Dreadnought was no longer just a ship, it was a statement. And the universe was listening. The negotiations stretched on, the tension in the council chambers growing heavier by the hour. Words were carefully chosen, promises weighed against suspicion, and every gesture scrutinized. Captain Maya Jensen knew this was only the beginning. The real test would be whether the Galactic Council could truly accept humanity as an equal. Back on the Dreadnought, Maya kept a close watch on the political tides. She understood the fears driving the Council: fear of change, fear of losing control, fear of a species that had been underestimated for too long. But she also knew the power of perseverance. In one of the quieter moments, Maya met with Lieutenant Rami and her senior officers in the strategy room. The mood was cautious, but hopeful. "If this alliance holds," Maya began, "it changes everything. Humans get a seat at the table, and maybe even a chance to influence galactic affairs." Rami nodded. "But some factions will never trust us, the Krass and Thraxians especially. They see us as a threat, and they won't hesitate to strike if given the chance." "That's why we need to be ready," Maya said firmly. "Our Dreadnought isn't just a weapon. It's a promise to defend ourselves. If war comes, we won't back down." Meanwhile, the Council faced internal unrest. Many species argued over how much power humanity should be allowed. Some wanted strict limits on human technology, fearing that sharing it would upset the balance of power. Others believed that cooperation was the only way forward. Lissa worked tirelessly behind the scenes to build bridges between humans and other factions. "We must remember," she told her colleagues, "that fear blinds us. If we embrace humanity, we gain new allies and fresh strength." But Zerthak's voice remained loud and bitter. "Humans are reckless. Their rise is too fast, too dangerous. We must contain them before it's too late." Despite the growing friction, a breakthrough came when the Council agreed to a joint research initiative. Humans would share select technology to help improve galactic defenses against common threats: pirates, rogue factions, and mysterious phenomena lurking in deep space. The announcement sparked hope and an anxiety in equal measure. On the Dreadnought, the crew prepared for the future. Engineers worked on refining their weapons and shields, while diplomats aboard the ship began drafting proposals for cultural exchanges and trade agreements. Maya watched the galaxy's reaction closely. News feeds buzzed with excitement and skepticism. Some celebrated humanity's rise, others whispered warnings of a coming conflict. One evening, as Maya stood alone on the observation deck, she thought about Earth, the blue planet that had once seemed so small and fragile in the vast universe. Now, humanity's legacy was no longer confined to a single world. It was written across the stars. Her communicator beeped softly. It was a message from Supreme Commander Varel. "Captain Jensen," the message began, "the Council recognizes your efforts. We are entering a new era. Let us hope it is one of peace." Maya smiled, a spark of hope shining in her eyes. "We will not fail," she replied. But beneath the optimism, both sides knew the fragile peace could shatter at any moment. Old grudges, mistrust, and the shadow of war still loomed. In the vast darkness of space, the human Dreadnought stood tall, a symbol of defiance, hope, and the uncertain future of a galaxy on the edge. The fragile peace the Galactic Council and humanity had begun to build started showing cracks almost immediately. Beneath the surface of polite negotiations and cautious alliances, old fears and rivalries simmered dangerously. Some council members still saw humans as a threat, a wildfire that could burn down centuries of delicate balance. In the council chambers, tensions flared during a particularly heated debate. The Krass delegation, led by General Karath, slammed their fists on the table. "We cannot trust humans. They flaunt their power and demand respect without earning it. Their dreadnought is a ticking time bomb, and they hide their true intentions behind diplomacy." Lisa tried to calm the room. "If we reject cooperation, we risk pushing humanity into isolation or worse, war. Our greatest strength lies in unity, not division." But Karath growled, "Unity built on lies, and naivete is a weakness. We must prepare for war." Meanwhile, aboard the Dreadnought, Captain Maya Jensen sensed the growing hostility. Reports came in of sabotage attempts on human supply lines and covert strikes on outposts linked to Earth. It was clear that some factions within the galaxy wanted to provoke conflict, to undermine the fragile peace before it took root. Maya called her officers together. "We face enemies both outside and inside the Council. We must stay vigilant." Lieutenant Rami nodded grimly. "The humans we fight may not always wear alien armor." The Dreadnought's AI, Argus, worked tirelessly to detect threats and predict enemy moves. "Captain, I have detected unusual energy signatures near our communication arrays. Possible sabotage attempts." Maya's expression hardened. "Increase security measures. No one sabotages humanity's future on my watch." As the months passed, mistrust deepened. Secret meetings were held in shadowy corners of the galaxy, where conspirators plotted to break the alliance and reignite war. Some saw the humans rise as a challenge to their own power and were unwilling to share the stage. But not all were enemies. Lisa continued to champion peace, building coalitions and working to expose those who sought chaos. One night, Maya received an encrypted message from a mysterious source within the Council. The message warned of an imminent attack planned by radical factions opposed to human inclusion. "We need to act fast," Maya told her crew. "This isn't just diplomacy anymore. We must defend ourselves and the future we're trying to build." The Dreadnought went on high alert. Tactical teams prepared for combat, and diplomats on board stood ready to make last-minute appeals for peace if it came to that. In the quiet moments before the storm, Maya stood on the bridge, staring out at the stars. The galaxy was a dangerous place, full of fear, pride, and old grudges. But humanity had come too far to turn back now. "We don't want war," she said quietly to herself. "But we won't run from it either." As the dark clouds of conflict gathered, the human Dreadnought remained a beacon of hope and a warning. The Galactic Council had panicked once when they saw it appear. Now, they would see what humanity was truly capable of. The warning from the mysterious insider proved to be all too real. Just days after the message reached Captain Maya Jensen, the Dreadnought's sensors picked up a sudden surge of hostile activity near a key trade route. Small, fast attack vessels, clearly not sanctioned by the Council, were moving to strike human supply convoys. "Captain, we're under attack!" the tactical officer shouted as warning alarms blared throughout the ship. Maya gritted her teeth. "All hands to battle stations. Shield generators to maximum. Engage defensive protocols." The Dreadnought roared to life as energy beams and missiles arced through space, lighting up the darkness with flashes of deadly light. Despite being outnumbered, the human crew fought with fierce determination and superior tactics. Their weapons were precise, their coordination flawless. The attackers were repelled, but the battle revealed a deeper truth. The threat was no longer just political, it was personal. Someone wanted to ignite a full-scale war, and humanity was the target. In the aftermath, Maya convened her officers. "This attack was meant to send a message. We must find out who's behind it, and stop them before this escalates." Lieutenant Rami looked grim. "There's evidence the crass radicals are involved. They've always seen us as invaders." Maya nodded. "Then we expose them. But carefully. If we act too openly, we risk dragging the Council into chaos." Meanwhile, back in the Galactic Council, the fallout was intense. The attack shattered any remaining trust between humans and the skeptical factions. Accusations flew, tempers flared, and calls for retaliation grew louder. Supreme Commander Varel struggled to maintain order. "We cannot allow extremists to drag us into war. We must seek the truth and punish those responsible." Lysa worked tirelessly to calm the Council, but her efforts were met with resistance. The radicals had already gained support from several influential delegates who saw the chaos as an opportunity to regain power. Amidst the turmoil, Maya received an unexpected offer from a surprising ally, a secret envoy from the Thraxian Empire, long known for its hostility toward humans. "We do not seek your destruction," the envoy said in a hushed voice during a covert meeting aboard the Dreadnought. "But we cannot stand by while radicals threaten the galaxy. We will help you if you accept our assistance." Maya was cautious, but understood the value of allies, even unlikely ones. "We accept your help, but know this: humanity stands ready to defend itself, and the peace we fight for." Together, the human crew and their new ally began unraveling the web of conspiracies. Spy networks, intercepted transmissions, and hidden bases revealed the radicals' plans to destabilize the Council and provoke a devastating war. As evidence mounted, the Council was forced to act. Several conspirators were arrested, and measures were put in place to prevent further sabotage. But the damage was done. Trust had been broken, and the path ahead remained uncertain. Despite the chaos, Maya's resolve never wavered. The human Dreadnought was more than a ship. It was a symbol of a new era, one where humanity would no longer be ignored or feared without cause. As she stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch endlessly before them, she knew this fight was far from over. "We've made enemies," she said quietly, "but we've also made allies. And as long as we stand together, humanity will never be alone." The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what came next. The Council had panicked once when the Dreadnought appeared, but now they would learn that humanity was not just a force to fear, but a force to respect. The arrests of the conspirators sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. For a moment, it seemed the fragile peace might hold, but beneath the surface, old wounds and new fears festered. The radicals' defeat was only a temporary victory in a galaxy still wary of humanity's rise. Captain Maya Jensen knew the real battle was just beginning. The Dreadnought had proven its power, but now it needed to prove humanity's place in the greater cosmic order. A new council session was called, one that would decide the future of human involvement in galactic affairs. Representatives from every species gathered, the air thick with anticipation and doubt. Maya was invited to speak, a rare honor for a human. As she stood before the assembly, she felt the weight of not just her crew or Earth, but the hopes of all humans scattered among the stars. "Honored delegates," she began, her voice steady. "We did not come here to conquer or dominate. We came because humanity seeks respect, understanding, and a chance to build together." She paused, meeting the eyes of many skeptical aliens. "We built this Dreadnought not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. For centuries we were dismissed, underestimated, and ignored. This ship is a symbol of our survival and our resolve." Murmurs rippled through the chamber, some approving, others doubtful. "But," Maya continued, "we are not the enemies you fear. We offer cooperation, knowledge and strength. We want peace, but we will defend ourselves fiercely if threatened." Varel stepped forward, his radiant form glowing softly. "Captain Jensen speaks with honesty and courage. The Council must recognize that humanity is no longer a minor player, but a force to be reckoned with." The vote was held, tense and close. In the end, the Galactic Council granted humanity full membership with rights and responsibilities equal to the oldest species. It was a turning point, a moment that would be remembered for generations. Outside the chambers, celebrations erupted aboard the Dreadnought and across human colonies. The journey from outcasts to equals had been long and hard, but the victory was theirs. Still, Maya knew challenges remained. Old prejudices would not disappear overnight, and some would always resent humanity's rise. But the Dreadnought, once a source of panic, had become a beacon of hope. As she stood on the bridge one last time before departing for Earth, Maya looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, full of wonders and dangers, but humanity had found its place. "We came as underdogs," she whispered, "but now we stand among the stars, not as threats, but as allies. The future is ours to shape. The human Dreadnought, powered up, ready to return home, but always prepared for whatever lay beyond the next horizon."